So I'm getting ready to play Daggerheart. There's 2 different reasons why I play Daggerheart. 3 different reasons. It's a pretty good game design. It's a lovely Frankenstein of a lot of different games. And when you look at the credits that they give in the book and like who they call out as like inspirations in terms of the games that have inspired them and the fiction that has inspired them, because it's things like Apocalypse Keys and Apocalypse World, City of Mist, which is the Legend of the Mist like original thing, obviously Dungeons and Dragons, but also For the Queen, Lady Blackbird, Masks, The Quiet Year, Wild Sea mention. And then they specifically call out like what out of those different games, the special appreciation for different parts of different games, like what in Wild Sea did they find it was particularly useful, what in Apocalypse Keys, what in The Quiet Year. And then the books are things like Sabriel, Lord of the Ring, Wizard of Earthsea, and TV shows like The Dragon Prince, yes, Legends of Vox Machina, Lord of the Rings, The Witcher, Guardians of the Galaxy, Dark Crystal. Like, it's a really good set of stuff that I think kind of resonates. So that's one thing. It seems to have taken a lot of ingredients and mixed it in a way that is mostly coherent. And when they do stuff that I think could have been done and has been done probably in the past a lot more streamlined, I know why they didn't do it. I can look at it and go, so here's one of the things that they do. You roll damage like you do in D&D. Great big handfuls of dice. But then you compare it to a chart and say, okay, that big pile of dice that you just rolled hit this guy, but because of his damage thresholds, he's going to take 3 hit points. Which is a lot. Which is still a lot of hit points, but it's 3 hit points. And in a lot of games that I've played, like Apocalypse World, like, well, not Masks, but a lot of Powered by the Apocalypse stuff, they just cut to the chase and go, okay, you have 6 hit points. And something that hits you for 3 hit points really hits super hard. And they'll just have the weapon say it does 3 hit points. And that's much more efficient than this weird damage threshold thing. But you know what it doesn't do? It doesn't let you roll big handfuls of weird shaped dice.
And we love doing
And we do love rolling big handfuls of weird shaped dice. So I understand why they do a lot of the stuff that they do. So it's borrowing from a lot of games we like, but we already have games that we like. So there's the other defensive part of it, which is this game's come out. It's got the backing of the Vox Machina folks. Everyone. Yeah. And it's got a ridiculous number of people. So for those of young people sitting at the table who occasionally play role-playing games, it's probably a really good idea just to learn how to play Daggerheart, because probably when you get into groups that are playing role-playing games, this is going to be one of the big guys that a lot of people are going to be running. So it makes sense to know how to play it.
We're going to explain every rule.
Well, we're going to have to explain every rule because I haven't played it. Neither of you guys. You've read a thing. I've listened to a podcast. None of these are the same as playing it. So that was part of it. And also, we kind of got poking around inside the rules, and there's stuff that makes us kind of get excited about wanting to play some stuff. So we're going to do this. And what these have here is the principles that they're asking the players to keep in mind. Be a fan of your character and the journey that they're on. Spotlight your friends. That's the second one. Address the characters and address the players. Build the world together. In Daggerheart, every participant is a storyteller, not just the GM. So we're going to be working on that together. Play to find out what happens, and hold on gently. Improvisational storytelling isn't always perfect, and that's okay. Hold on gently to the fiction, enough that you don't lose the pieces that matter, but not so tightly that the narrative has no room to breathe. You know that I've been in groups and games in the past where I've had to deal with players that had the picture of their character arc so firmly locked in their mind that I couldn't really do anything because it wasn't what they were expecting to have happen with their arc, and they just yelled at me outside of the game until I had to change what I was doing.
Just make an OC.
So let's talk about, flip over to chapter 1. 2 more pages, Sean. All right, let's get on with character creation. Sean is going to start because he was the one that got into this first and kind of made it seem like we were going to, I want to play Legend of the Mist, but he's like, I don't want to do that. All right, so the classes that we have options for are bards. You got your druids, both the Warden of Elements, Warden of Renewal. You've got your guardians, the Stalwart, or the Vengeance. There's the, I'm going to keep people from getting hurt. And if you hurt my people, I am going to murderify you.
Foxhammer.
Fox hammer is crazy.
Your rangers are broken out into the Beastbound and the Wayfinder. I think the names pretty much speak to themselves. The rogue, you've got your Nightwalker and your Syndicate. Again, they kind of let you know what's going on there. The Seraph is, I'm going to say only kind of a cleric, but you have your Divine Wielder if you want to be Thor, and you have the Winged Sentinel if you want to be Valkyrie. You've got your Sorcerer, Elemental, or the Primal, which just basically let you play with the building blocks of the universe. Your Warrior, the Brave and the Slayer, and the Wizard, the School of Knowledge, or the School of War. Just your class. You decided to go with...
I am a stalwart guardian.
Stalwart Guardian.
So
if you want to take heavy blows and keep fighting, I'm looking at the numbers on the character sheet. You are going to be very easy to hit, but man, you can take a beating for a week and just keep going. Even at level 1. Kaylee's going to go next. Kaylee, what class are you going to do?
I am a Syndicate Rogue.
Syndicate Rogue. If you want to have a web of contacts everywhere you go.
In many places. I won't say high places because probably not. But in
Friends who...
the dark, dirty, dank places.
Can you actually, going back to Sean for a second, so the way they did this with the rules, there is a character sheet, but there's also a ton of cards. They went, I'm going to say, very D&D 4th edition on this one, and every character class, every background, every cultural background, everything has a card to go along with it. Read for me. First of all, on the character sheet, what is the core, sort of the core move of the Guardian?
The class feature of the Guardian is called Unstoppable. Once per long rest, I can become unstoppable.
So basically, while he is it's sort of like a Berserker Rage, but it's not, because you're totally in control. You take less damage, you take a lot less damage, you do a little bit more damage, and it lasts until you smack the crap out of somebody, starting out 4 times, but it goes up to 6 times. It can go up to more than that. And that's going to be true no matter what Guardian you're playing. So you picked, under Guardian, you picked the Stalwart. What are the Stalwart's abilities?
I get a permanent +1 bonus to my damage threshold.
So basically, you get a permanent bonus to how much damage you can take. What's the other thing you get?
When I take physical damage, I can mark an additional armor slot to reduce the severity. So theoretically, if I'm unstoppable and I take major damage...
Yeah. So normally what happens, if you guys are going to have, all of you will have some kind of armor. It may be good, it may not be great, whatever. If you get hit, and you're like, oh, that's going to be 3 hit points if I let that go through, I'm going to mark an armor, and it moves it down from taking 3 points of damage to taking 2 points damage, or 2 points damage down to 1 point of damage, or I can't actually take any damage yet because I got a crap beat out of me right now. I need to move that, even that one little minor hit, I need to move it down to nothing. You can mark it, but you can only mark 1 at a time. He can mark 2 at a time.
Damn, bro.
And while he's unstoppable, he gets to act as though one's been marked already. So
damn, bro.
I have to hit him with severe to even have a chance of
me at all.
Yeah, if I want to hit him at all, I got to hit him really hard.
And I intend to have a lot of armor slots.
You will.
Spend.
You will have a lot of armor slots. Okay, so that's what Sean's starting out with. Your rogue core thing on the sheet in the bottom left.
Class feature.
Okay, cloaked. Anytime you would be hidden, you are instead cloaked. In addition to the benefits of the hidden condition, while cloaked, you remain unseen if you are stationary when an adversary moves to where they would normally see you. After you make an attack or end a move within line of sight of an adversary, you are no longer cloaked.
The way hidden works, unlike for those of you who have been playing a lot of just an absolutely obscene and irresponsible amount of Baldur's Gate, you don't have to roll to be.
Are you excluding yourself from that category?
No, God no. That would be incorrect. So what happens with hidden is if you are out of line of sight of somebody, you're hidden. That's it.
Become cloaked, so
because
even
they can't.
if they move where they normally should be able to see me, I'm like, you thought.
Yeah, as long as you don't move, you remain cloaked. Even if they should be able to see you from where you are, you figured out some way of being cloaked. Whereas you are like, hey, I'm out of line of sight. Oh, they walked around the corner. They see you. Don't I get to? No, you don't get to roll. They see you. You're 7.5 feet tall. You're made out of titanium and wood and attitude and a top hat. They see you. Anyway.
And they see you, so they don't see me.
So, Syndicate.
I have friends. I have lots of friends. I'm well connected. When I arrive in a prominent town or environment, I know somebody who calls this place home. I give them a name, note how I think they could be useful, and choose one fact from the following list. They owe me a favor, but they'll be hard to find. They're going to ask for something in exchange. They're always in a great deal of trouble. We used to be together. It's a long story, and we didn't part on great terms.
She's always gonna pick the last one.
I just really like the idea that I've left an X in every town. Like Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Zoe.
What can I say? I get it.
You are the druid. Can you just say the name of your core ability?
Beast form.
Beast form. You're a druid. You can change into animals. The animals get cooler as you level up, but they're pretty cool even at level 1.
Wait, you're a druid who can wild shape? I've never heard of one of those before.
I got a whole extra piece of paper that just entirely based on what I can turn into. A wild touch. You can perform harmless, subtle effects that involve nature, such as causing a flower to rapidly grow, summoning a slight gust of wind, or starting a campfire.
Nice.
You can just do stuff. You've got a pick later.
0.5.
Okay, so that is the character. That is choose your class. You have chosen your class. You also choose a subclass. At any point in the character creation process, feel free to fill out your character's name and pronouns on the top line, as well as the character description details on the character guide. Now, I want to, can I borrow your character sheet for just a second, Zoe? The actual character sheet. So you guys will notice on the back of the sheet, you've seen this in Powered by the Apocalypse. Look on the back of your sheet. You guys have seen this.
I'm fucking with you.
Seriously?
Jesus, I'm fucking with you.
All right, you guys have seen this on like a Powered by the Apocalypse character sheet where it's like character description, circle some stuff or write in your own. See in the top right there where it's like character description and stuff, suggested traits, suggested primary weapon, suggested secondary weapon, inventory, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to do it that way, but if you don't know what you want to do, it's a pretty good thing to do. Why don't we just real quick look at that stuff and see if there's anything that jumps out to you? This is definitely the way what I want to go with. You can just choose. It doesn't have to be from the pick list. It could be.
Yes, but also the pick list is very convenient.
Okay, yeah, the pick list is convenient, but if you were like, I was really feeling this other thing, go ahead, feel that other thing. We're all about our feelings. While you're doing this, you guys have already chosen your ancestry, and we're going to talk about that here in a hot second. So,
I'm lanky and short. Just like me.
Short.
Just like me in real life.
you're skinny and short.
I'm gonna...
What if I put short and tall?
You don't do that.
Don't.
Tiny.
You exist.
The game gets a divide. I get a divide by 0 overflow error, and we just stop playing.
I'm lanky, short, and tiny.
These boots definitely don't have knives in them. Don't ask.
You're lying.
They don't have knives. But is there any reason why somebody shouldn't have a grappling hook?
No.
The Dipper's like,
That's
turn
how
off the
I
light,
use it.
Mabel, and she just got a grappling hook.
Grappling
And
hook.
she's like, and she's like,
shoots.
turn off the light. Can you turn off the light, Mabel? Yeah, sure. And it's like,
I just want to point out that it does not say grappling hook gun. I want that.
No, but it goes through people the way I use it. Because I hand it to him.
Throw it as hard as you can that way.
I will use it as a meteor hammer.
Okay, so we're going to do ancestries. We kind of already did this real quick, so we're going to start with the simplest one, which is Zoe. Your ancestry. There's like 14 different ancestries, and they can all be mixed and matched.
And they're all
I'm a fairy.
You're a fairy, so we're
spelled
gonna.
with an E. Actually, 2 of them.
You get 2. Every one of the ancestries in the game has 2 different ancestry features. You get both of them if all you are is that one ancestry. Of course, you're the only one who did it like that and only did one ancestry. Thank you. What are your 2 ancestry features you should have on one of your cards?
Luckbender. Once per session, after you or a willing ally within close range makes an action roll, you can spend 3 hope to re-roll the duality dice.
Okay, let me unpack that real quick. You have in this game, what you do when you want to succeed in an ability check is you roll 2. 12-sided dice. I believe I've clearly communicated with my body language that we're not ever going to put the cards in our mouths. Right? That was clear. That came across.
Oh, so you brought this upon yourself.
It's your fault.
Yes. Okay. So you roll two 12-sided dice and then you add maybe a couple of numbers. Okay. And you're trying to hit a certain number. Now, what's interesting about this is this could be very binary like D&D, where it's like, oh, the number is high enough or it's not. You either succeed or you don't. However, there is an added there's technically 5 different results you can get. One is the number was too low. And so these two 12-sided dice need to be 2 different colors. That's why they're called the duality dice. They are yin and yang, or yay and womp womp.
They are hope and fear.
They're hope and fear, literally hope and fear. If you roll and your number is too low and fear was the highest dice, then you failed with fear. And I get a fear token. That would be probably the worst possible result, because not only is it failure, but it's failure with pain. All right. It feeds in. I get to make a fear move, or I get some fear tokens to do stuff with, or whatever. I can fail, but my hope dice was higher. I failed with hope, which means you get a hope token. Yay!
Yay!
That is a small consolation prize on the face of you still womp womp. There's success with fear. I got a 17 with fear. So you succeeded, but still some bad stuff happened. You succeeded, but at what cost? The cost is the GM is smiling now.
Oh, no.
You won't.
And finally, you can succeed. No, I'm sorry, not finally. Fourth option, you can succeed with hope. Gotta love that. You get what you want, and probably a little bit more. Plus, you fill up hope dice. You can your hope points. You can have a total of 6 hope. When you're at 6, you cannot get more. So there's no point in saving it, because
You can only get 6.
you can only get 6, so you might as well use it up. And the final one is, if you roll doubles, and it does not matter what the doubles are, if you roll doubles, it's a crit.
Nice.
Double ones, terrible roll, doesn't matter. It's double ones, you crit. It means the crit chance is slightly higher than the crit chance in D&D. D&D, the crit chance is about a 5%, and in this system, the crit chance is like 8 1/3 or something like that.
Yes, and that's why.
Anyway, so
That's funny.
what Zoe has there is if somebody close to her makes an action roll, she can spend 3 hope and let them re-roll their dice.
Oh.
So she can basically go, and you can go, I'm going to roll again. And finally, what is your other ability as a fairy?
Wings.
Wings.
I can fly.
So she can always be flying narratively, but she can also mark a stress, which is not hit points. It's literally stress after I attack. And she can basically go, I'm going to add an extra 2 points onto my evasion and make me miss. All right, so you guys did complicated things. Now, the way that these cards are, these abilities are set up is there is a first one and a second one, or in the way the cards are arranged, a top one and a bottom one. When you decide that your ancestry is mixed between 2 different ancestries, you pick one thing from the top and one thing from the bottom. You can't pick both of the top things on the cards, unfortunately. And there's a reason that they're unfortunately. They did them in such a way that they're complementary, because if you did the 2 top ones, in some cases, they
Would be broken.
yeah, they're a little broken. If you do the 2 bottom ones, they're too broken. So, Sean,
Put them in one.
you are at least somewhat a clank. A clank is a sentient mechanical being built from a variety of materials, including metal, wood, stone. Which one of the 2 ancestry features did you pick for your clank?
I picked purposeful design. Decide who made you and for what purpose. Character creation. Choose one of your capital E experiences.
Sort of your background.
Yeah. For those who played.
D&D, but also a bunch of other things. There's a lot of games that have like a thing where it's like, oh, I have this kind of background, and if my background applies to this move, I get a +2, which is exactly how that works. You spend a hope point and you can apply your background to it.
Yeah.
But you get that a +3.
A character creation. Choose one of your experiences that best aligns with this purpose and gain a permanent +1 bonus to it. And I also picked Infernus.
They have an infernal background, and the general idea is that you basically look mostly like a clank. You just happen to have infernal power in you.
I just happen to be.
And your ancestry feature that you picked has to be the bottom one, which is...
Durad Visage. I get advantage on rolls to intimidate hostile creatures, which makes sense because I am 7 feet tall and
Scary. Again, you have made the robot from Lost in Space. It's also worth noting here, this also touches on one other mechanic. Those of you who have played Baldur's Gate or D&D are familiar with the concept of advantage. It doesn't give you, the game, generally speaking, does not give you bonuses to your roll, like a +1, +2, +3, whatever like that. It doesn't do that. It's like, so what advantage does in this game is not roll another D12, because that would break the hope, like which one's your hope dice, right? So instead what you do is initially, if you have advantage, you roll a D6 with your D12s and add it to the roll. So you basically another little half dice to add onto the roll to give you an extra bonus.
Oh, yeah.
That's what advantage does. Kaylee is doing a
Goblin cat tree.
Katari,
Katari.
which is to say a cat goblin.
I'm a cat goblin.
Cat goblin.
What ancestry feature did you take from Katari?
I picked the bottom one, which is retracting claws. Make an agility roll to scratch a target within melee range. On a success, they become temporarily vulnerable.
And what vulnerable does is anybody who attacks them while they're vulnerable attacks with advantage. So you can basically give everybody else bonuses to beat the crap out of them.
Top one from Goblin, which is ignore disadvantage on ability rolls.
Agility.
Agility! God, I can't read, okay? It's been a long time.
You ignore disadvantage, which still makes you very cat-like. And also, I would say that character art there on the page, bottom right of Goblins, is pretty close to the art that you're.
We're getting there.
Yep.
She's happening. Mm-hmm. Look at that face.
Yeah.
Don't you just wanna smooch?
Don't you just want to put her on her shoulder and charge into the enemy?
So most of this is stuff that we've already done so far. Choose a class, and honestly, this is only taking so long because we're stopping to explain it. Now here's something that we haven't done before. Choose your community. You will choose your community from the available community cards that are over there on the thing. Here's a fun fact. There are only 2 community cards for each community. So you can't all pick the same community.
Shoot, dang it.
All right.
Not from the same place.
So your character's community is influenced by its physical location, its values, its goals. It informs the culture that your character grew up in and might play a part in the way that they look, the way that they act, or approach situations. Each community comes with a feature that you can utilize during the game. Take the card for one of the following communities, then write its name in the heritage field on your character sheet. So the options that you have available are Highborn, Loreborn, Orderborn, Ridgeborn, Seaborn, Slyborn, Underborn, Wanderborn, and Wildborn. They're over there. Take a look. Figure out which one you want.
I've been underborn.
You might want to look at Slyborn.
Okay, this is hard.
This is why I didn't just grab one for you, because this is really difficult. Figuring out your background is like, this isn't immediately obvious what you're going to grab. You can do some really interesting stuff with it. All right, Kaylee.
Yes.
What community did you pick?
I am highborn. I have advantage rolls to consort with nobles, negotiate prices, or leverage my reputation to get what I want.
Can you tell us what highborn means?
Being a part of a highborn community means you're accustomed to a life of elegance, opulence, and prestige within the upper echelons of society.
So
And then I went
that background, and we're going to talk about what campaign we're going to be doing, and the campaign's going to have some effect on what that means in terms of where you're.
What does it mean?
Yeah, so you might look at that and go, "Oh, that doesn't really work." But incident. What did you turn down? What was the other one that was attractive?
I was looking at Slyborn, which gave me advantage against with speaking to criminals and low lives and things like that. But then I was like, using my reputation, or leverage your reputation to get what you want. And that wording on that made me excited.
Listen, some of
I
your
get that.
accents may be.
And
I want you to remember that you're going to be part of a situation where there's like an occupying army and rebel organizations and stuff like that, and Slyborn might be very useful for dealing with like the spy networks of both sides. You think about it.
Well,
Ponder.
I want to know which of them is more likely to assist me.
What's the Slyborn one let you do? Can you give me the hardcore Because I understand the desire for the highborn, but that also means you're constantly going to be leveraging your family name. And in dangerous situations, that means you're going to be putting your family at some risk. And you're, oh, yeah.
How are you already sure?
Means you come from a group that operates outside the law, including all manner of criminals, grifters, and con artists. You have advantage on rolls to negotiate with criminals, detect lies, or find a safe place to hide.
I think that one's probably going to be the most useful to you.
Fine. Campaign structure doesn't fit my player ingenuity.
Okay, but I will say this. That clearly points to the fact that we need to make sure that one of your first contacts is a noble.
Oh,
So that you have the connection to the highborns.
but I just switched it.
No, you can have a connection everywhere. If you like the idea of your background being that you're from a noble family, but you're a criminal now, there's no reason that you can't have that. It's just not the thing that you leverage mechanically in the game.
I see.
You get me?
I see.
So
I'm understanding. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I understand it now.
Words, magic man.
would you put the card in the sleeve, please?
He wants me to sleeve my cards like Deep Pocket Monster.
All right. What did you take for your answer for your community, Sean?
I picked Orderborn. Being part of an Orderborn community means that you're from a collective that focuses on discipline or faith, and you uphold a set of principles that reflect your experience there. I have read the campaign structure, and I know exactly what this means.
Are you going to be from the Haven side initially?
I may or may not have been widely manufactured as a shock troop. May or may not.
And now you're one of the wicklings?
Dedicated. Record 3 sayings or values your upbringing instilled in you. Once per rest, when you describe how you're embodying one of these principles through your current action, you can roll a d20
Damn.
as your hope dice.
Damn.
Cool. That's funny. Let's hope.
God dang.
But you can still roll a 1.
I cast Nat 20 perception. Let's go. Me.
Ari, what? Where community are you from?
Wanderborn.
Wanderborn.
Wanderborn. Being part of a Wanderborn community means you've lived as a nomad, foregoing a permanent home and experiencing a wide variety of cultures. And I got a nomadic pack. Add a nomadic pack to your inventory. Once per session, you can spend a hope to reach into this pack and pull out a mundane item that's useful to your situation. Work with the GM to figure out what item you take out.
I got something. She's got a mom purse.
A bag of holding.
She has the old. No, it's not a bag of holding. It's a mom purse.
It's a bag of useful items.
It's the bag of useful
And possibly hard candy.
and possible. All right. We're going to look at character traits now. You got them across the top of your sheet.
I have a feeling I'm going to create yet another low knowledge character.
Now you'll see, Kaylee and everybody else, on the back of your character sheet, there is a suggested array. You've got 6 stats, and you get a plus. One of them is a +2, 2 of them are +1, 2 of them are at 0, and one's at -1. You might want to lean into, I think the defaults generally work for the characters. Yes. Let's just talk real quick about the stats. Agility. So they split out decks. From in D&D terms, they split out decks and got rid of Constitution, because Constitution doesn't get rolled
At all.
for skills.
Unless you're...
And Dexterity, you had too much stuff under it. So Agility is for sprinting, leaping, physical maneuvers, moving quickly around a space. It means you're fast on your feet, nimble in difficult terrain, quick to react to danger. You'll make an Agility roll to scurry up a rope, sprint to cover, bound from rooftop to rooftop. Strength means you're better at feats that test your physical prowess and stamina. You'll make a strength roll to break through a door, lift heavy objects, hold your ground against a charging foe. Finesse is the fine mechanical manipulation abilities of...
Because no locksmith is that good at parkour.
Parkour.
Yeah. You don't automatically get good at jumping across rooftops just because you're good with like fixing watches. High finesse, skilled at tasks require accuracy, stealth, and utmost control. You'll make a finesse roll. So interestingly, some ranged weapons are agility. I think the bow is. Some of them are finesse. The crossbow.
There's also a gun.
There's also a gun.
I'm pretty sure one of them is presence.
I don't think the gun. Well, that one's magic.
Consider.
I-
Never mind.
I think you probably want presence as one of your.
I've got +1.
No, I was gonna do something silly and then I thought against it.
Okay.
Good.
Instinct. Your ability to perceive, sense, navigate. A high instinct means you have a keen sense of your surroundings and natural intuition. Your gut instinct is good. You make an instinct roll to sense danger, notice details in the world around you, or track an elusive foe. So good for rangers, that kind of stuff. Presence, charm, perform, deceive. A high presence means you have a strong force of personality and a facility for social situations. You'll make a presence roll to plead your case, intimidate a foe, or capture the attention of a crowd. And finally, knowledge, recall, analyze, and comprehend. A high knowledge means you'll know information others don't and understand how to apply your mind through deduction and inference. This is the Wizard and Sherlock Holmes stat.
And there is not a single person at this party who has anything but a 0 in that stat.
You'll make a knowledge roll to interpret facts, see patterns clearly, or remember important information. Or, in the case of most of you, not remember it.
The only thing I remember is how many X's I have. Trying to get that number to 1,000, baby.
These stats will raise, there's things that will raise your stats in the future, but generally speaking, this is, if you'll notice, the number ranges feel a lot like the ranges in Powered by the Apocalypse, and you should feel like those numbers mean about the same thing in terms of their bonuses and stuff. Tell me your best and worst stat.
My best stat is my finesse, and my worst stat is my strength.
I'm interested in this because you're very social interaction.
I did what they told me to do.
Okay.
Now, it doesn't mean that my presence isn't good. My
It's
presence
+1.
is a 1.
Yeah, sure. And if that's your spellcasting trait, then yeah, having finesse as your highest is gonna matter. Zoe, what's your highest one?
My highest is instinct.
Voice.
Instinct. And your lowest is?
Presence.
Nice. What was your lowest one?
My lowest is my stunk.
Strong? Not strong, because you're little.
I'm itty bitty.
Oh my god, the fairy's stronger than you?
Yeah, probably.
All right.
I can carry both of them on my shoulder. My strength is a +2. And I have -1 in finesse.
Yeah, fine motor control, not really what you were built for.
However, shock troops don't really need to unlock doors. They are the key.
Damn the key.
And they run very rapidly towards the door.
One more thing you can do is you've got a couple of class features that you can pick. I'm handing you, so both of you guys have on your character sheet up in the top, just underneath your character name, your character class, where it says Druid or whatever. Mm-hmm. Underneath that it says, under Druid, what does it say?
Sage and Arcana.
Sage and Arcana. So this is the Sage deck, and this is the Arcana deck. You don't have to look at all these cards. Please don't, as a matter of fact, look at all these cards.
That's a lot of cards.
Yes. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you the level 1 cards for both of these decks. There are 6 in total. You pick 2 of them that are going to be for your character. You with me? You with me? All right. So
2 from each.
no, 2 in total. They can be from both. They can be all green. They can be all purple. They can be a mix. It doesn't matter. But these are the 6 you pick 2 cards from total. Okay?
But aren't they already there?
No.
Underneath the rope? It says Midnight and Grace. Is that not what we're picking right now?
She
She has
no.
different ones.
She gets a different set.
Those are the deck that you.
You get so you don't pick Midnight and Grace. You pick.
No, she actually does pick midnight.
So here's you, Kaylee,
Okay.
and these are the other 3, and you pick 2 of those.
So 1 from each?
No, it can be. You can do 2.
You can just pick things.
I cast build variety.
You don't have to pick from all one color. You don't have to pick from one of each. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want to do, but you have to pick 2. Now, listen. Okay, focus on this for a second. At level 1, you will have 2 cards. You'll get more cards. At level 3 or so, you'll have a total of. No, sorry. At level 4, you'll have a total of 5 cards. At level 5, you'll keep getting cards, but you can still only have 5 active. So you get like 5 in your bandolier ready to go, and you get like a backpack of, and then you can swap them during like downtime and stuff. All right.
I know what kind of druid I want to be.
Oh yeah. What did you pick?
Rune Ward. You have a deeply personal trinket that can be infused with protective magic and held as a ward by you or an ally. Describe what it is and why it's important to you. I found it in the dirt.
She can basically do mage armor. And what's your other one?
Nature's tongue. You can speak the language of the natural world,
Including turnips.
including turnips.
All right, these are the 4 you're not using?
Yep.
Thank you.
When you want to speak to the plants and animals around you, make an instinct roll. On a success, they'll give you the information they know. On a roll with fear, their knowledge might be limited or come at a cost. Additionally, before you make a spellcast roll while within a natural environment, you can spend a hope to gain a +2 bonus through the roll.
I want it noted that Zoe did not, playing against type, she did not pick the ability Unleash Chaos.
I have 3. I need help deciding.
What are they?
I have Deft Deceiver. I genuinely read that as Debt Deceiver so many times, it's not even funny.
Deft Deceiver. Tell me what it does.
Spend a hope to gain advantage on a roll to deceive or trick someone into believing a lie you tell them. Inspirational words. Your speech is imbued with power. After a long rest, place the number of tokens on this card equal to your presence. When you speak with an ally, you can spend a token from this card to give them one of the following benefits from the following options. Your ally clears a stress, your ally clears a hit point, your ally gains a hope. When you take a long rest, clear all unspent tokens. Yeah, I just get a free clear a stress, clear a hit point, gain a hope.
Yeah.
One. And then pick and pull, you have advantage on action rolls to pick non-magical locks, disarm non-magical traps, or steal items from a target either through stealth or by force.
Here's what I would say. I would say that the one for giving a boost to other people, you're going to get another ability at level 2. I would save that one for level 2 and go for the ones that are like immediately going to, like, I get an advantage when I'm trying to charm people. I get an advantage when I'm trying to break into shit. That seems like the thing you're going to go for first. And then you'll know, oh man, I could have used that thing where I could have healed you. Now you know that you can do that
Now
thing.
I'll know that it's valuable, or if it's not, then it's not, and I can pick something else because I was excited about like most of those cards.
Yeah, most of those cards. And then, so these are tier 1 cards. When you go up to tier 2, you get a different list of cards. And the cards go up to 10, like up to level 10. There's 2 to pick from for each one of the levels. So you will never have all the abilities that you could have. All right, John, which...
I took I am your shield. When an ally within very close range, when an ally would take damage within very close range, I can mark as stress to stand in the way and make myself the target instead. When you take any damage from the stack, you can mark any number of armor slots, which means I can take no damage.
Epic sauce.
As long as you guys stay close to him, he can basically intercept any incoming damage.
As long as you ride on my shoulders, you will take no damage.
It will use up his armor slot, so feel free to keep doing that, because the longer that he soaks up damage that goes aimed at you guys, it's kind of a nice mix, because I can go, I can shoot at Kaylee, and then he'll come in and use his armor if I hit her, but I have to hit her.
Yeah.
And it's twice as hard to hit her as it is to hit you.
So you might as well just be shooting at you anyway.
All right, give me the cards you're not using, please. On the back of your sheet, there's background questions.
Yes.
You guys see them?
Yes.
What are your background questions? Just tell me what they are.
Why was the community you grew up in so reliant on nature and its creatures?
Okay.
Who was the first wild animal you bonded with? Why did your bond end? Who has been trying to hunt you down? What do they want from you?
Bars.
Sean, what are your background questions?
Who from your community did you fail to protect, and why do you still think of them? You've been tasked with protecting something important and delivering it somewhere dangerous. What is it, and where does it need to go? You consider an aspect of yourself to be a weakness. What is it, and how has it affected you?
Kelly, what are your background questions?
What did you get caught doing that got you exiled from your home community? You used to have a different life, but you tried to leave it behind. So who from your past is still chasing you? Who from your past were you most sad to say goodbye to? Which ex?
Can I see your sheet too for a second? What we're going to skip over to is, and I want you to think about the backgrounds. I would like you to do them. So we're going to come back to the background stuff, because I think we need. So here's the thing. listen, I would like you guys to think about your background questions and answer them. Not the connection questions, but your background questions. Think about who you would like to have answer your connection questions. And the one other thing that you need to have written down is your experiences. You get 2 and they're short. You flip around your character sheet, you'll see them kind of underneath your hit points, sort of. You see them over there where it has experiences to write down? All right, so what these are backgrounds that give you a bonus so they're kind of broad. So if you worked cat burglar, just broadly, and if you can make the argument, I feel like cat burglar would apply to this situation, you spend a hope, and I go, yeah, sure. You spend a hope token and you get a +2 on your roll. So I'm going to make a knowledge check. My knowledge is crap. However, this is knowledge of a valuable object that's being held by a noble in the city of Haven. And I feel like as a cat burglar, I would know about that. I'd like to spend a hope token and give myself a +2 on this particular knowledge check, and you can do that kind of stuff. So you get 2. Each one of them is a +2, which is what you write in the box.
Unless
he doesn't get an extra one. He gets one that's a +3 instead of a +2 because he's built to purpose. You're built to purpose one, I would think, Sean, would be something about your war training, or like you're a former Warforged clank or something like that.
former shock troop
Former shock troop. Perfect. Absolutely.
with a +3.
Yep.
Is well connected a good thing? Or is that kind of already...
I feel like you kind of already have that with the other ability that you have as part of Syndicate.
It's literally
Literally called
plus-
well connected. Wow, I'm so original.
What was that?
What's the plus that we add?
+2 for both of them are a +2. And finally, because this might help with your backgrounds and stuff like that, I want to remind you that we're going to be playing the campaign frame of the Witherwild. Fanewick was once a place of great abundance and peace, dangerous to those unfamiliar with the land, but a cornucopia to those who respected its ways. When Haven, the nearby kingdom, invaded the wilds and forced the land into an eternal spring where each day and each night lasts for a full week, a dangerous bloom known as the Witherwild took hold and now threatens the lives of everyone who lives there. In a Witherwild campaign, you'll play unlikely heroes who are reckoning with their newfound duty to save Fanewick's people from a dangerous corruption. Now, that is the default. You could make up a character who's from Haven. Sean's doing somebody who is like a former Haven shock troop. There's a few considerations I want you to think about for this with regards to the communities that you picked and classes and stuff.
I have a question.
Yes, go.
Because I picked Slyborn, can I put Born as a noble in my experience?
Yeah, perfect.
I did that. I said Born as a noble.
Perfect. I would even say Haven noble, but keep going. All right, so a few notes here about some of the communities. In Haven, the wealthiest members are highborn, having inherited riches built in the walled cities over generation. While the highborn of Haven were insulated from the serpent sickness that inflicts much of the city, none of them were immune. You might even ask questions like, who have you lost to the serpent sickness? Because you have family back in Haven. How did it affect you? How did your family make their wealth? Have you rejected or embraced their core set of ethics? I would say rejected is probably obvious. You grew up in a world of abundance, but were kept from learning something about the world. What was this knowledge and when did you discover it? I mean, there's some good questions there.
Mass produced a good experience.
No.
I'm asking.
Maybe because you could get replaced. I mean,
Get replaced.
I'm not sure how often it would. Well, it's up to you. Do you see where you'd be able to get it to apply to stuff? Like if you had to sneak into a Haven military compound, you could probably tag it for a bonus on your roll because you look like all of the others.
Oh yeah.
Because you look like all of the other dudes.
Yeah. Except for the hat. Except
Well, you
for
take
the
that
immaculate
off, obviously. I think that's a good possible idea, but it does. I think you could. Here's the thing. I think you could probably, Sean, get that same bonus like the one I just described from tagging your other one.
Yeah.
Because I was a former shock troop. I look like these guys. I can totally look like one of them. We'll talk some more about that
Kaylee,
later.
what's your character's name?
Kiki.
Kiki?
Nani, short for number 9. Nani is like nanny with a O.
N-O for number.
And then Y.
Fuck, I kind of love that. Kiki's awesome, but
He's pretty good.
that's got some.
Kiki and Nani, and who are you?
I'm named after a type of weasel, dude.
Wait, what?
Kiki, Nani, and Stoat.
Kiki, Nani, and Stoat.
Well, no,
That's kind of, you guys are
After a table.
Kiki, Nani, and Stoat.
also kind of like
I love that. That has such a flow to it.
Stoat.
Stoat.
Stoat. I feel like the
Listen, it's almost 9 o'clock. I don't want to keep going with this, but I want you guys to think about your backgrounds more, and I want you to share those backgrounds with everybody first, okay? Hey guys, thank you. I feel like we have like a thing. This feels good. Does it feel good?
Nani.
And Stout.
Stoat. How are you guys feeling about this? Good?
good.
I like it.